Good morning, family, and thank you so much for joining us for this week's scripture reading. And this week we'll be reading from Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 12 through chapter 11, verse 25, Yashayahu chapter 49, verses 14 through chapter 51, verse 3, Hebrews chapter 11, verses 8 through 13, and Romans chapter 8, verses 31 through 39. Wherefore it shall come to pass, if ye hearken to these judgments, and keep, and do them, that Yahuwah thy Elohim shall keep unto thee the covenant, and the mercy, which he sware unto thy fathers. And he will love thee, and baruch thee, and multiply thee. He will also baruch the fruit of thy womb, and the fruit of thy land, thy corn, and thy wine, and thine oil, the increase of thy kine, and the flocks of thy sheep, in the land which he sware unto thy fathers to give thee. Thou shalt be baruch above all people. There shall not be male or female barren among you, or among your cattle. And Yahuwah will take away from thee all sickness, and will put none of the evil diseases of Egypt, which thou knowest, upon thee, but will lay them upon all them that hate thee. And thou shalt consume all the people which Yahuwah thy Elohim shall deliver thee. Thine eye shall have no pity upon them, neither shalt thou serve their gods, for that will be a snare unto thee. If thou shalt say in thine heart, These nations are more than I, how can I dispossess them? Thou shalt not be afraid of them, but shalt well remember what Yahuwah thy Elohim did unto Pharaoh, and unto all Egypt, the great temptations which thine eye saw, and the signs, and the wonders, and the mighty hand, and the stretched out arm, whereby Yahuwah thy Elohim brought thee out, so shall Yahuwah thy Elohim do unto all the people of whom thou art afraid. Moreover, Yahuwah thy Elohim will send the hornet among them, until they that are left and hide themselves from thee be destroyed. Thou shalt not be affrighted at them, for Yahuwah thy Elohim is among you, a mighty Elohim, and terrible. And Yahuwah thy Elohim will put out these nations before thee by little and little. Thou mayest not consume them at once, lest the beasts of the field increase upon thee. But Yahuwah thy Elohim shall deliver them unto thee, and shall destroy them with a mighty destruction, until they be destroyed. And he shall deliver their kings into thine hand, and thou shalt destroy their name from under heaven. There shall no man be able to stand before thee, until thou have destroyed them. The graven images of their gods shall ye burn with fire. Thou shalt not desire the silver or gold that is on them, or take it unto thee, lest thou be snared therein. For it is an abomination to Yahuwah thy Elohim. Neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thine house, lest thou be a cursed thing like it. But thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing. All the commandments which I command thee this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live, and multiply, and go in and possess the land which Yahuwah sware unto your fathers. And thou shalt remember all the way which Yahuwah thy Elohim led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee, and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. And he humbled thee, and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahuwah doth man live. Thy raiment waxed not old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell these 40 years. Thou shalt also consider in thine heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so Yahuwah thy Elohayim chasteneth thee. Therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of Yahuwah thy Elohayim, to walk in his ways, and to fear him. For Yahuwah thy Elohayim bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that spring out of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley, and vines, and fig trees, and pomegranates, a land of olive oil and honey, a land wherein thou shalt eat bread without scarceness, thou shalt not lack anything in it, a land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills thou mayest dig brass. When thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt Baruch Yahuwah thy Elohayim for the good land that he hath given thee. Beware that thou forget not Yahuwah thy Elohayim in not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, lest when thou hast eaten and art full, and hast built goodly houses and dwelt therein, and when thy herds and thy flocks multiply, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all that thou hast is multiplied, then thine heart be lifted up, and thou forget Yahuwah thy Elohayim, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage, who led thee through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water, who brought thee forth water out of the rock of flint, who fed thee in the wilderness with manna, which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, and that he might prove thee, to do thee good at thy latter end. And thou say in thine heart, my power and the might of mine hand hath gotten me this wealth. But thou shalt remember Yahuwah thy Elohayim, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant, which he sware unto thy fathers, as it is this day. And it shall be, if thou do at all forget Yahuwah thy Elohayim, and walk after other gods, and serve them, and worship them, I testify against you this day, that ye shall surely perish. As the nations which Yahuwah destroyed before your face, so shall ye perish, because you would not be obedient unto the voice of Yahuwah your Elohayim. Hear, O Yashayahu, thou art to pass over Jordan this day, to go in to possess nations greater and mightier than thyself, cities great and fenced up to the heaven, a people great and tall, the children of the Anakim, whom thou knowest and of whom thou hast heard, who can stand before the children of Anak. Understand therefore this day that Yahuwah thy Elohayim is he which goeth over before thee as a consuming fire. He shall destroy them, and he shall bring them down before thy face. So shalt thou drive them out, and destroy them quickly, as Yahuwah hath said unto thee. Speak not thou in thine heart, after that Yahuwah thy Elohayim hath cast them out from before thee, saying, For my righteousness Yahuwah hath brought me in to possess this land. But for the wickedness of these nations Yahuwah doth drive them out from before thee. Not for thy righteousness, or for the uprightness of thine heart, dost thou go to possess their land, but for the wickedness of these nations Yahuwah thy Elohayim doth drive them out from before thee, and that he may perform the word which Yahuwah sware unto thy fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Understand therefore that Yahuwah thy Elohayim giveth thee not this good land to possess it for thy righteousness, for thou art a stiff-necked people. Remember and forget not how thou provokest Yahuwah thy Elohayim to wrath in the wilderness, from the day that thou didst depart of the land of Egypt, until you came into this place. You have been rebellious against Yahuwah. Also in Oreb ye provoked Yahuwah to wrath, so that Yahuwah was angry with you to have destroyed you. When I was gone up into the mount to receive the tables of stone, even the tables of the covenant which Yahuwah made with you, then I abode in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. I neither did eat bread nor drink water. And Yahuwah delivered unto me 2 tables of stone, written with the finger of Yashayahu, and on them was written according to all the words which Yahuwah spake with you in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. And it came to pass at the end of 40 days and 40 nights that Yahuwah gave me the 2 tables of stone, even the tables of the covenant. And Yahuwah said unto me, Arise, get thee down quickly from hence, for thy people, which thou hast brought forth out of Egypt, have corrupted themselves. They are quickly turned aside out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten image. Furthermore, Yahuwah spake unto me, saying, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Let me alone, that I may destroy them, and blot out their name from under heaven, and I will make of thee a nation mightier and greater than they. So I turned and came down from the mount, and the mount burned with fire, and the 2 tables of the covenant were in my 2 hands. And I looked, and behold, ye had sinned against Yahuwah your Yashayahu, and had made you a molten calf. Ye had turned aside quickly out of the way which Yahuwah had commanded you. And I took the 2 tables, and cast them out of my 2 hands, and brake them before your eyes. And I fell down before Yahuwah, as at the first 40 days and 40 nights I did neither eat bread nor drink water, because of all your sins, which ye sinned in doing wickedly in the sight of Yahuwah, to provoke him to anger. For I was afraid of the anger and hot displeasure wherewith Yahuwah was wroth against you to destroy you. But Yahuwah hearkened unto me at that time also. And Yahuwah was very angry with Aaron to have destroyed him. And I prayed for Aaron also the same time. And I took your sin, the calf which ye had made, and burnt it with fire, and stamped it, and ground it very small, even until it was as small as dust. And I cast the dust thereof into the brook that descended out of the mount. And at Taberah, and at Massa, and at Kibroth Hattava, ye provoked Yahuwah to wrath. Likewise, when Yahuwah sent you from Kadesh Barnea, saying, Go up and possess the land which I have given you, then ye rebelled against the commandment of Yahuwah your Yashayahu, and ye believed him not, nor hearkened to his voice. Ye have been rebellious against Yahuwah from the day that I knew you. Thus I fell down before Yahuwah 40 days and 40 nights, as I fell down at the first, because Yahuwah had said he would destroy you. I prayed therefore unto Yahuwah, and said, O Yahuwah, Yashayahu, destroy not thy people and thine inheritance, which thou hast redeemed through thy greatness, which thou hast brought forth out of Egypt with a mighty hand. Remember thy servants, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Look not unto the stubbornness of this people, nor to their wickedness, nor to their sin, lest the land whence thou broughtest us out say, Because Yahuwah was not able to bring them into the land which he promised them, and because he hated them, he hath brought them out to slay them in the wilderness. Yet they are thy people and thine inheritance, which thou broughtest out by thy mighty power and by thy stretched out arm. And at that time Yahuwah said unto me, Hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and come up unto me into the mount, and make thee an ark of wood. And I will write on the tables the words that were in the first tables, which thou breakest, and thou shalt put them in the ark. And I made an ark of shittim wood, and hewed 2 tables of stone, like unto the first, and went up into the mount, having the 2 tables in mine hand. And he wrote on the tables, according to the first writing, the 10 commandments, which Yahuwah spake unto you in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. And Yahuwah gave them unto me. And I turned myself and came down from the mount, and put the tables in the ark which I had made, and there they be, as Yahuwah commanded me. And the children of Yashayahu took their journey from Beeroth of the children of Jaakan to Mosera. There Aaron died, and there he was buried, and Eleazar his son ministered in the priest's office in his stead. From thence they journeyed unto Gudgodah, and from Gudgodah to Jothbath, a land of rivers of water. At that time Yahuwah separated the tribe of Levi to bear the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, to stand before Yahuwah to minister unto him, and to Baruch in his name unto this day. Wherefore Levi hath no part nor inheritance with his brethren. Yahuwah is his inheritance, according as Yahuwah thy Elohayim promised him. And I stayed in the mount according to the first time 40 days and 40 nights, and Yahuwah hearkened unto me at that time also, and Yahuwah would not destroy thee. And Yahuwah said unto me, Arise, take thy journey before the people, that they may go in and possess the land which I swear unto their fathers to give unto them. And now, Yashayahu, what doth Yahuwah thy Elohayim require of thee, but to fear Yahuwah thy Elohayim, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve Yahuwah thy Elohayim with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of Yahuwah and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is Yahuwah's thy Elohayim, the earth also with all that is therein is. Only Yahuwah had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. For Yahuwah, your Elohayim, is Elohayim of gods, and Adon of Adonai, a great Elohayim, a mighty and a terrible, which regardeth not persons, nor taketh reward. He doth execute the judgment of the fatherless and widow, and loveth the stranger, in giving him food and raiment. Love ye therefore the stranger, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Thou shalt fear Yahuwah thy Elohayim, him shalt thou serve, and to him shalt thou cleave, and swear by his name. He is thy praise, and he is thy Elohayim, that hath done for thee these great and terrible things, which thine eyes have seen. Thy fathers went down into Egypt with 70 persons, and now Yahuwah thy Elohayim hath made thee as the stars of heaven for multitude. Therefore thou shalt love Yahuwah thy Elohayim, and keep his charge, and his statutes, and his judgments, and his commandments alway. And know ye this day, for I speak not with your children which have not known, and which have not seen the chastisement of Yahuwah your Elohayim, his greatness, his mighty hand, and his stretched out arm, and his miracles, and his acts, which he did in the midst of Egypt, unto Pharaoh the king of Egypt, and unto all his land. And what he did unto the army of Egypt, unto their horses, and to their chariots, how he made the water of the Red Sea to overflow them, as they pursued after you, and how Yahuwah hath destroyed them unto this day. And what he did unto you in the wilderness, until you came into this place, and what he did unto Dothan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the son of Reuben, how the earth opened her mouth, and swallowed them up, and their households, and their tents, and all their substance that was in their possession, in the midst of all Yashayahu. But your eyes have seen all the great acts of Yahuwah, which he did. Therefore shall ye keep all the commandments, which I command you this day, that you may be strong, and go in and possess the land, whither you go to possess it, and that ye may prolong your days in the land which Yahuwah sware unto your fathers to give unto them and to their seed, a land that floweth with milk and honey. For the land which thou goest in to possess it is not as the land of Egypt, from whence ye came out, where thou sowest thy seed and waterest it with thy foot, as a garden of herbs. But the land whither ye go to possess it is a land of hills and valleys, and drinketh water of the rain of heaven, a land which Yahuwah thy Elohim careth for. The eyes of Yahuwah thy Elohim are always upon it, from the beginning of the year even unto the end of the year. And it shall come to pass, if ye shall hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you this day, to love Yahuwah your Elohim, to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that thou mayest gather in thy corn and thy wine and thine oil, and I will send grass in thy fields for thy cattle, that thou mayest eat and be full. Take heed to yourselves, that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods and worship them. Then Yahuwah's wrath be kindled against you, and he shut up the heaven, that there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, unless ye perish quickly from off the good land which Yahuwah giveth you. Therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes. And ye shall teach them your children, speaking of them, when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt write them upon the doorposts of thine house, and upon thy gates, that your days may be multiplied, and the days of your children, in the land which Yahuwah sware unto your fathers to give them, as the days of heaven upon the earth. For if ye shall diligently keep all these commandments, which I command you, to do them, to love Yahuwah your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to cleave unto him, then will Yahuwah drive out all these nations from before you, and ye shall possess greater nations, and mightier than yourselves. Every place whereon the soles of your feet shall tread shall be yours, from the wilderness and Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, even unto the uttermost sea shall your coast be. There shall no man be able to stand before you, for Yahuwah your Elohim shall lay the fear of you and the dread of you upon all the land that ye shall tread upon, as he hath said unto you. Yashayahu, chapter 49, verse 14. But Zion said, Yahuwah hath forsaken me, and my Adonai hath forgotten me. Can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yea, they may forget, yet will I not forget thee. Behold, I have graven thee upon the palms of my hands. Thy walls are continually before me. Thy children shall make haste. Thy destroyers, and they that made thee waste, shall go forth of thee. Lift up thine eyes round about, and behold, all these gather themselves together, and come to thee. As I live, saith Yahuwah, thou shalt surely clothe thee with them all, as with an ornament, and bind them on thee, as a bride doeth. For thy waste, and thy desolate places, and thy land of thy destruction shall even now be too narrow by reason of the inhabitants, and they that swallowed thee up shall be far away. The children which thou shalt have after thou hast lost the other shall say again in thine ears, The place is too strait for me, give place to me, that I may dwell. Then shalt thou say in thine heart, Who hath begotten me these, seeing I have lost my children, and am desolate, a captive, and removing to and fro? And who hath brought up these? Behold, I was left alone. These, where had they been? Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, Behold, I will lift up mine hand to the Gentiles,
and set up my standard to the people. And they shall bring thy sons in their arms, and thy daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders. And kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet, and thou shalt know that I am Yahuwah, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me. Shall the prey be taken from the mighty, or the lawful captive delivered? But thus saith Yahuwah, even the captives of the mighty shall be taken away, and the prey of the terrible shall be delivered. For I will contend with him that contendeth with thee, and I will save thy children. And I will feed them that oppress thee with their own flesh, and they shall be drunken with their own blood, and as with sweet wine. And all flesh shall know that I, Yahuwah, am thy Savior, and thy Redeemer, the Mighty One of Yaakov. Thus saith Yahuwah, where is the bill of your mother's divorcement, whom I have put away? Or which of my creditors is it to whom I have sold you? Behold, for your iniquities have ye sold yourselves, and for your transgressions is your mother put away. Wherefore, when I came, was there no man? When I called, was there none to answer? Is my hand shortened at all, that it cannot redeem? Or have I no power to deliver? Behold, at my rebuke I dry up the sea. I make the rivers a wilderness, their fish stinketh, because there is no water, and dieth for thirst. I clothe the heavens with blackness, and I make sackcloth their covering. Yahuwah, Eluah Hayam, hath given me the tongue of the learned, that I should know how to speak a word in season to him that is weary. He wakeneth morning by morning, he wakeneth mine ear to hear as the learned. Yahuwah Eluah Hayam hath opened mine ear, and I was not rebellious, neither turned away back. I gave my back to the smiters, and my cheeks to them that plucked off the hair. I hid not my face from shame and spitting. For Yahuwah Eluah Hayam will help me. Therefore shall I not be confounded. Therefore have I set my face like a flint, and I know that I shall not be ashamed. He is near that justifieth me. Who will contend with me? Let us stand together. Who is mine adversary? Let him come near to me. Behold, Yahuwah Eluah Hayam will help me. Who is he that shall condemn me? Lo, they all shall wax old as a garment. The moth shall eat them up. Who is among you that feareth Yahuwah, that obeyeth the voice of his servant, that walketh in darkness, and hath no light? Let him trust in the name of Yahuwah, and stay upon his Eluah Hayam. Behold, all ye that kindle a fire, that compass yourselves about with sparks, walk in the light of your fire, and in the sparks that you have kindled. This shall ye have of mine hand. You shall lie down in sorrow. Hearken to me, ye that follow after righteousness, ye that seek Yahuwah. Look unto the rock whence ye are hewn, and to the hole of the pit whence ye are digged. Look unto Abraham your father, and unto Sarah that bare you. For I called him alone, and I baruch him, and increased him. For Yahuwah shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places, and he will make her wilderness like Eden, and her desert like the garden of Yahuwah. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving and the voice of melody. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 8. By faith Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing whither he went. By faith he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is Eluah Hayam. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Therefore sprang there even of one, and him as good as dead, so many as the stars of the sky in multitude, and as the sand which is by the seashore innumerable. These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims in the earth. Romans chapter 8, verse 31. What shall we then say to these things? If Yashayahu be for us, who can be against us? He that spared not his own Son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? Who shall lay anything to the charge of Yashayahu's elect? It is Yashayahu that justifieth. Who is he that condemneth? It is Mashiach that died, yea rather, that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of Yashayahu, who also maketh intercession for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Mashiach? Shall tribulation, or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or peril, or sword? As it is written, For thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Yashayahu, which is in Mashiach Yahusha our Adon. Thank you so much for joining us. Shabbat Shalom.